Good morning, student. Today we have a second part of our second geography chapter, the physical features of India. In the first part, we will discuss about the concepts related to the Himalaya and the theory related to the plates. In this part, we will discuss about the other concepts related to the how the greater northern plains are formed, related to the peninsular plateaus, Indian Thar Desert, and Indian Icelands. How these are formed, how these plays roles for the Indian economy or as the contribution for India. In this part, we will discuss all these things. So, let's start the lesson. First, we have a northern plain. The northern plains are located in the south part of Himalaya, and these are mostly formed by the three major river systems of India. First, we have a Indus, second, we have a Ganga, third, we have a Brahmaputra, and by these tributaries. So, these northern plains are also known as Indo-Gangetic plains. These plains are made by the alluvial soil. Alluvial soil is mostly disposed by these three rivers, the Ganga, the Indus, and the Brahmaputra. So these vast basins are always placed in the foothills of a Himalaya. These are too much fertile and mostly suitable for the agriculture. The total area covered by the northern plains are 7 lakh square kilometer, and the length of northern plains is 2400 kilometer length, and the breadth is 240 to 320 kilometer. And these are mostly density population. Mostly population is in this area of the India because these are suitable for agriculture. These are fertile. These are easily the housing and other buildings are set up, and transport facilities easily made there. Roads are easily set up there. So these are mostly populated areas of India. Moreover, the disposals of a huge quantity of salt rivers split into the number of channels. So water from these rivers are also crossed from these tributaries called the distributaries. From these distributaries, waters are distributed into the further units. Next, we have our northern plains are another division of section. First, we have a western part of the northern Himalayas or the northern plains, that is known as Punjab plains. Punjab plain is between the Indus and its tributaries. So larger area of India and Pakistan, Punjab is under the Punjab plains. The tributaries of Indus like Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Vyas, Satluj, who originated from Himalayas and always provide the water or the irrigation facilities to the Punjab plain. This is mostly fertile area of the northern plains. Another word, the Doab. Doab comes from the two words do or ab. Do, do means two, and ab means water. So Doab means a water, two water or area or a piece of land which is mostly covered by the two water bodies or the two rivers called Doab. Then the Ganga plains. The Ganga plains expand to the Ghaggar to Teesta river and spread over the northern India, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and some parts of Jharkhand, West Bengal to its east side, and some parts of Assam. Especially these are the Brahmaputra plains. So, variety of leaves are found in this northern plains. Are also they have a Vavar, then we have a Teri, then we have a Vangar, then we have a Khidar. The Vavar is a narrow belt. It is spread on the surface or the parallel to the slope of Shivalik. It is almost 8 to 16 kilometer wide and mostly have the pebbles or the stones which is deposited by the rivers. And streams and rivers re-emerge and create the bit swampy and marshy land that is known as terry. So terry is a stream and river re-emerge, create a bitty, swampy or a marshy area that is known as terry. Then we have the largest part of the northern plain is formed by old alluvial soil and lies above the food plains of the rivers and present a trace like a feature that is known as Vangar. So Vangar is always the area of old alluvial soil which is mostly suitable for the irrigation, mostly suitable for agriculture facilities and have the irrigation facilities known as Vangar. On the other side, we have a Khedar. Khedar is mostly newer, younger deposit which is deposited by the eroded material by the floodplains known as Khedar. Then we have a Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau is known as the tableland. Plateaus are always have a tableland. So Peninsular Plateau is also a tableland. It is formed due to the breaking of Gondwana land, which we cover. Gondwana land part we cover in the first part of this chapter's video. Then this is composed by the old crystalline igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and these are formed by these rocks. Then the Peninsular Plateau is have the dividation. First we have a central highlands, then we have a Deccan Plateau. Mostly the rivers flows from in this Peninsular Plateau is Chambal, the Sindh, Betwa, Kin. From these flows from southwest to northeast. Then from the eastward extension is locally known as a Bundelkhand and Bundelkhand. Chota Nagpur Plateau marks the further eastward extension drained by the Damodar River. So in the Chota Nagpur Plateau mostly have the cover with the Damodar River. Then the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat marks on the west side and eastern side. So because these have the, here we have a parallel lines, one is in the east west side, second in the east side. So these are known as the Ghats, Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat in the edges of the Deccan Plateau. High peak include the Anai Mundi, then we have a Dada Veta, then we have a Mehangandgiri, are the highest peaks of Eastern Ghat. And these peninsular plateaus have mostly black soil which is mostly suitable for the cotton, is known as a Deccan Tract. So these have mostly peninsular plateau have the black soil, this is known as Deccan Tract. The rocks are igneous rocks and mostly over the time and spread are formed by it. Then we have a Indian Thar Desert. Indian Desert is spread in the western margins of Aravalli Hill, and this received one of the mostly low rainfall in the world, as known not 150 is almost 150 mm. So almost 20 to 50 centimeter or the 50 to 60 centimeter it receives the rainfall as annual. So it is mostly arid areas, low vegetation, only an Luni river is spread in this. Warhanes are mostly covered with this areas, and longitude drones have covered the area of Indo-Pakistan boundaries. So Warhanes are like this, made by the sand. Here we have this is a picture of Warhanes. This is the example of Warhane. Then the coastal plains. These are the from the Peninsular Plateau, the flanked by the stretch running along with the Arabian Seas or the both side on the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. The boundaries we have touched with have called the coastal plains. In the east, in the one side we have a Arabian Sea in the west side, and second side in the east side we have a Bay of Bengal. So western coasts are the Sadwick area known as the Western Ghat, and the Arabian Sea is narrow plains. So north part of the western coast is known as a Konkan coast, which is covered by the mostly main areas are Bombay and Goa. Central part is known as the Kannad plains, and while the southern stretch is known as a Malabar coast. The plains along with the western Bay of Bengal are more wide as compared to the Arabian Sea. So plains are more wide in the Bay of Bengal. In the northern part, it refers the northern sea coast, while it is in the southern part. It again has a part that is known as a Coromandel coast. Longer rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri are formed delta on the lakes. Lake Chilka is one of the important feature in the eastern coast. Then we have a Indian Iceland. If we have a Lakshadweep, that is one of composed by the small coastal Iceland. On the earlier name is Likadives, Minikovi, and Amindives, but now it have a Lakshadweep. And this deep is mostly diversity of flora and fauna. Pity Iceland one uninhabited area has mostly suitable for the bird's sanctuary. On the other side we have a Andaman Nicobar Iceland. These are divided into two broad categories. One we have a Andaman, second we have a Nicobar. Andaman in the north side, Nicobar in the south side. So these are mostly suitable for India's fishing, are provided a lot of variety of flora and fauna and suitable for this. In the last chapter, now we take the conclusions. So after the checking the details of India's geographic units or the unique features that India have, so we can say that India is one of the richest country as natural sources. India has mountains which provides the waters and the forest wealth. On the northern plains are mostly suitable for the granaries because these are fertile and irrigation facilities and agriculture facilities. Then we have a plateaus which have the great source of minerals, and the coastal lines and islands have provided us the best sites for the fishing and port activities. So overall, these features are important for India's development. If we use them properly, then we can easily suit for India's development. This is all about the second chapter. We can do the map activities of chapter number 1 and 2 by the next part of this video.